Good afternoon, class. So now we would talk about the future of commodity market. All right, we would listen to things such as the size of the Indian commodity market, size of the global commodity market, and then how is the efficiency of the market measured? What are the challenges faced? Okay, so this is your last topic. Please listen to it effectively. All right, fine. Now, as such, if we talk about the commodity market right now, since we are having the COVID-19 happening and the pandemic is all over across the world, the commodity market is also affected to a larger extent. Be it the lockdown or the quarantine or whatever you may call it, every other nation, including us, our nation too, is having a huge detrimental effect of the commodity market. Okay, direct effects in the form of shutdown, lockdown. Now, lockdown started on 21st of March. It has extended to more than 2 months. Then economic growth is falling, stock market not performing, and every day each nation declares itself to be under recession. We had Japan saying this recently, then just before it, Germany, right? So, and even our uh, finance minister has also stated India is on its way to recession. So every country is having the worst effect of it. You take oil prices, oil and petroleum, we take the direct imports mostly from the Middle East. Everyone who is trying to get, who usually imports oil from the Middle East countries are also facing the issue of getting it in a proper manner. So because the prices of oil also has gone up and down as a result, petroleum, diesel, right? So for us, maybe when diesel and petroleum goes down, it is good. We are happy. But for the people who make it, it's very hard. All right. And regarding the food also, food security, we don't have much issue because even during the lockdown, we try to see that the commodities, the food commodities do reach people, okay, with not many fluctuations in the price. But still, if you talk about the international trade, countries started putting certain restrictions from importing. You must have heard that India put restrictions in importing of certain food commodities from the US. US also placed restriction. So this is happening. This would hamper the development of the global commodity market. So in general, I'll move on to the size of the global commodity market and the size of the Indian commodity market and see what all is given there. Now, global commodity market, this one would specifically talk about the current situation. Indian commodity market, I've put in a few facts and figures from what has been happening since this decade has started. Okay, so let's move on. The first one is energy and metal. So we are talking about global perspective. Energy and metal commodities have been affected thanks to the pandemic. Okay, there is a complete slowdown. Industries not able to meet the demand, not able to do the processing, especially in the COVID affected nations, which is a majority, especially for energy commodities such as oil, petroleum, kerosene, all are being having seen the steepest decline as an industry for the entire business all throughout the year, and they estimate this is going to happen even in the next year. We never know. Agricultural prices are almost stable because almost everyone was in lockdown, be it most of the nations, right? So people, there was no less demand for the agricultural commodities, yes, but what was affected was the supply chain. Okay, supply chain was affected. Things didn't reach on time. All right, people were unable to store it in warehouses. We had to depend on restrictive online services, especially during the start of lockdown. Even though we had big basket grocers and everything, they were able to, such agencies were able to offer only restricted stock. If you had ordered something during the start of the lockdown, you must have found out many items were very much limited. So all the supply chain didn't happen properly, so those disruptions were there. So, and people could not stock a lot of goods, food commodities, because that was impossible due to the less supply. Then gold prices were up literally from Jan to March to 6.9%. So it was the sixth consecutive quarterly rise. So over a period of since last year, this was the sixth consecutive quarterly rise, that is within 3 months. And the strongest demand was there for gold, but even though the demand had fallen in places like China and India, where we use more of the gold sources either as jewelry and all that, even though that has gone down, still gold prices didn't show very huge effect. In the middle it had fluctuated a bit, but now they say it is almost close to the standard thing. Then oil prices had fallen to $35 per barrel in 2020, and this decline caused a huge issue. Like I mentioned, many nations depend on the Middle East countries to supply them with good quality oil and other gases, but and petroleum to be very specific. So these nations had an organization of their own, that is these Middle East nations and many other nations had formed the OPEC, or the Organization for the Petroleum Exporting Countries. Okay, so now there is a scene wherein they feel that since prices have gone down, they have started putting restrictions to other countries who plan to import from these countries, okay, from the exporting countries. So that would create a lot of issues for them. Is it clear to you? So those agreements are going to be modified, and this might not work in favor for the importing countries. Then impact on importers and exporters. Many of the exporters feel there's going to be a change in the market even when the lockdown would be restored and all the economies would try to get back. But still, because of this pandemic, every sector, we feel that every sector is going to show a very much varied picture, and this would cause a complete impact in the market. There might be customers who would be there might be a presence of market trend because of the movement of customers from one product to another or one industry to another. So that would cause a problem. That is why I have highlighted changing consumer behavior, because people would be traveling less, they might be using lesser number of commodities compared to what they used previously or what they were dealing with previously. This would have a problem for many people. And now since there's a drop in demand for oil, there are fall in prices, then it is easy for oil importers, but for the exporters this is not a very good scene. Size of Indian commodity market: around two-thirds of a billion people in India are engaged in agro-based activities. Okay, so over the period of time, right from before 1970s where it was dominant, then after 1970s we had many restrictions set up. During all this period, one clear thing what we understood, that there is a potential of growth, good potential of growth in the commodity market, because our commodities are varied, thanks to the land or whatever you may call it. We have a growth, especially in the case of agricultural commodities, to look forward to export really well and improve the status of commodity market in India. So there was a tremendous potential in addition to this, of the total GDP, gross domestic product, of about rupees 13 lakh 30,000 crores. Commodity related industries form at least 58%. Okay, so they have also made up to the 1,40,000 crore mark. These figures are given, which you can quote in your answers, but you need to know how well the commodity market in India is functioning. Okay, and most of the commodities procured from India are traded in various domestic exchanges and platforms like the MCX and NCDX, and also on an international level and different marketplaces. Okay, and then we have the FMC. Once we had the FMC, they saw to it that the commodity trading level increased by they saw to it that it increased by 120 times from the time when electronic trading was introduced in the year 2003. And secondly, another asset would be your MCX, or the multi commodity exchange, the largest exchange in silver, second largest in the world in terms of gold, copper and natural gas, and third largest in crude oil futures. So if we look at this, we can when we have all these figures, like one of our exchanges being the best out of many, then this gives a boost to most of the investors and the traders and other participants to engage in active commodity trading in India. Now we learn about something called as efficiency of commodity market. If you have learned the subject security analysis, we learn about efficiency. But in general, what it means is there are two sides to the coin. Okay, there's a positive manner and the negative one. So let's go for the positive one. So here we say that a market is known to be, any market, stock market or commodity market, is known to be efficient if the true value or the actual value of that security, okay, is reflected in the market price. Say the actual value of a watch or a pen is being reflected in the market price, we call it as market is efficient. Okay, even if the investors or the traders or anyone associated with a commodity, okay, so let's take a commodity, let's take Indian rubber. Okay, Indian rubber's true value is said to be reflected in the market prices. So if the actual value worth, if the Indian rubber is worth 105 per ton, just an example, then the actual value of 105 per ton is shown in the market information. Even if investors believe no, that is not the case, or they feel that they have extra information which says it is not 105, all that won't be entertained. Here we say that the market is known to be efficient only when the true value is reflected in the market price, irrespective of whatever information the investors have. So even if investors have the inside information or very top priority information, still they cannot be reflected in the market. Only the true value would be reflected. Now there's a negative side to it. They say that this market efficiency concept will not be applicable to all the investors but only to our average investors. So we can understand this is a very utopian condition. As in, utopian means it's not happening, it's just imaginative in a way. Market efficiency is not possible for people having huge volumes of trade who are trading actively. All this won't hold good. All right, but this is just a theory which is put forward. Now there are three main forms of market efficiency. We have weak form efficiency, semi-strong form efficiency, strong form efficiency. So in the positive definition especially, we said that the true value is reflected in the market price, irrespective of the fact whether investors hold the information or not. So in these three forms of efficiency, we are going to talk about the information which is being held by the investors, whether it is being reflected or not. Okay, in the weak form of efficiency, the current price, okay, the current market price reflects the past price. Whatever prices were there in the past, it reflects the same thing. Okay, under security analysis, we learn about fundamental analysis and technical analysis, different type of analysis, bar charts which you use to understand how is the trend of commodity. Okay, so if you see the picture, you see the type of those yellow markings, no, we call it as candlestick markings or candlestick chart. Like a bar graph, we use these. Okay, these are used in security or commodity trading to plot the trend in the market. So we use such and this forms technical analysis as well. We try to understand what does how does the market, how exactly is the market faring. So in the candlestick we see whether it is rising or falling down. So all that is analyzed through technical analysis. And what I talked about previously is fundamental analysis. Fundamental, you need to just know the difference. Security analysis, we have two forms: fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Fundamental analysis tries to do some studies for the economy, then the industry, and then they'll come down to study the company. Technical analysis is where you use certain tools to understand how the market functions. Okay, so that you don't have to break your head on it. I just gave you the meaning of technical analysis. So here technical analysis involves the use of such bar charts, candlestick charts, which is used to reflect the past prices. So in weak form of efficiency, everything is based on past prices. Then we have semi-strong form of efficiency, where it says that not only is the past price reflected in the current price, but also any such public information such as financial statements or news report is also being included. So in the first one we had past price, In the second one, we have past price as well as public information such as financial statements and news reports as well. So both are being used. Especially if you switch on to channels like NDTV Profit or CNBC, you find that stock prices, now it won't be seen, but pre-lockdown and maybe immediately after this lockdown, you will find that people are talking about the changes in price and all that. So they are doing analysis and they are coming with their reports on the news channels. So this public information and the past information till how much ever was traded till date, both of them are being compared to find out what form of efficiency exists in the market. Strong form of efficiency involves past price information on the past price, information on the public price, as well as any other information which is available. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to the last topic, which is challenges faced by commodity market. Okay, we have certain challenges which are faced by commodity market. Yes, commodity market was more than the backbone, especially the agricultural sector was more than it's still the backbone of Indian economy, but we have to understand that there are certain set of challenges faced by the same set of people. We have certain legal challenges in the manner that no matter, see, what happens, there is always a loophole in the law. Okay, the normal notion of laws in India is like you make a law only if something happens, only after an incident you make the law, be it Nirbhaya, be it anything. Most of the circumstances, that is how the law is being implemented in more, in not just our country, in most of the countries. All right, so when they realize that there are we need some certain regulations and everything, they try to do it. Okay, they bring in the laws, they try to implement. Many don't get implement, they are still waiting in the queue, but most of them do get implemented. But still things like black market, okay, hoarding, all that still exist. This act as a detrimental. So what can we understand is the law is not being implemented completely in its full spirit. There are still loopholes which certain people are trying to take advantage of. Okay, then comes regulatory challenges. This commodity market comes directly under the ministry, right? They are completely controlled by the government. Meantime, SEBI for the security market has been set apart as a statutory body. They can make their own decisions and do that. FMC, which is a regulatory body for commodity market, does not have so much of powers. Okay, they are still under the control of the ministry. Whatever the ruling party says, they have to implement. They have no very good, they have a say in it, but not they are more of an advisory role. They don't have so much of powers like SEBI. So that is a regulatory challenge for commodity market. The best regulator we had till now is the FMC. If they are not given the concerned powers, complete powers for regulation, then everything would have a political angle to it. Then let's talk about the infrastructural challenges. So warehousing and standardization. So when there is physical delivery of goods, we need a warehouse. We have discussed this. So this warehousing should happen in a place which is sophisticated. It is able to have a good capacity of holding securities. We talk about tons, but if you have a warehouse which can hold only few kgs, then there's no point. So we have to work on that. We have to set up certain labs in order to do this standardization. When the buyer brings his, when the seller gets delivers his commodity to the warehouse, like we discussed in clearing and settlement, when he brings in, they check for the standards. So we need to set up certain labs to test the standards. Then cash versus physical settlement. Usually only out of the total commodity market transactions, only 1 to 5% gets settled in physical delivery. The rest are settled in cash. Okay, so that would cause a detrimental effect, because if you have warehouses and everything gets settled in cash, then we cannot use the warehouse capacity to the fullest. When people are not ready to go for physical delivery, these commodities, most of them being agriculture in nature, they would turn out to be perishable in the course of time. Okay, so that is one thing. Lack of economy of scale. All right, lack of economy of scale. Here what it means to say is, okay, we have close to 21 commodity exchanges, we have got a nationalized exchanges, all that is there, but the number of commodities which can be traded overall is very less. It's just around 113 commodities. Okay, so our commodity is less. Moreover, the main issue here is only few of the exchanges trade in all the commodities, the rest don't. Okay, either they're simply established maybe for some admin or office work, some of them trade in maybe one or two commodities, but even though we have just 113 commodities, they are being traded only in few exchanges. So here what we mean to say is, we have built a commodity exchange to do active commodity trading, but we are not able to use these institutions to do the commodity trading. Okay, so economy of scale is basically the advantages an organization gets because of some factor. So our factors here are commodity exchanges. We are not able to get the benefit from efficient, or we cannot efficiently utilize these commodity exchanges because they trade in very less number of securities, and as such the total number of securities is also less. Then we have certain tax and legal bottlenecks or loopholes are there. Many people try to evade the tax through black market, through hoarding, all that is still existent. Okay, like the picture shown shows a pictorial representation of the same. Then awareness among investors and producers have to be dealt with, because there are many who do not know how a market functions, how the commodity functions. They don't know what are the benefits of going for a futures market. So all this training, this general awareness sessions has to be frequently conducted. So FMC should have the power to set up training sessions for many farmers and producers who understand, okay, if we trade in futures we'll get better returns. We have commodity exchanges who facilitate, we need to know, so they are given good market information on how to trade in the form of periodicals or trading sessions. All right, so all the very best for your exams. Your revisions would resume in due course. I hope the points are clear. All right, if you have any question, let me know. Fine. Notes are still in progress, so I'll be giving the same set of notes to BCom A as well as BCom B, and yeah, that's it. PPTs would be shared. I think it's already there in Google Classroom. Any questions through your CR or without your CR's medium, you can simply contact me and ask for any questions. Questions can be entertained. Thank you and all the very best. I'll update you on your next class.